Welcome back, gamers and gentlemen, for another awesome episode of Gamer Culture. I am watching my friends die after doing that intro, which means I did it well. My name is Kuma, and today we're going to be talking about 3 franchises that failed us. Game series that just they petered out, they've disappointed us somehow, they have done us wrong. But before we get into that, let me introduce today's guest, my co-host, as always, Kibbles. How you doing, brother?
Hello, everyone. It's good to be back. I'm doing pretty well, especially that I've got pre-orders for games already coming out. So I'm doing pretty well.
Good to hear, brother. I mean, you already broke the cardinal sin of hashtag no pre-orders, but that's okay. I can forgive.
I
Air is human.
I pre-ordered Pokemon Snap because
Tyler, I no longer have expectations for you. That's fine. Look,
I don't blame you.
I understand the bar that. Okay, I love you. I'm kidding.
I love you too.
Joining us today as well, Matt. I don't. How do you do your name? Is it Black Samurai, J Black Samurai? What am I doing there?
You can just call me Matthew. My handle name is Black Samurai, but I usually represent the company Nerdy Bit, which is my company that I have. We're a street brand company that does anime weeb-like things as well too. I'm sure you have seen me on other stuff that Mr. Tyler has done, and people may have known from me. But you can just call me Matthew. You don't have to go by my nickname. Nickname is my stage name when I do comedy or when I'm feeling bold. But for now, just Matthew. Perfectly fine.
And welcome to the show, Matthew. And hiding in the corner, as always, is Tyler.
Just kidding.
Oh my God.
Howdy. How's
I'm
it
excited
going?
for this.
Yeah.
I'm
All right,
this is the first time I've been on this, so I don't know what to expect or what we're doing here. Compared to the chaos that we dealt with Most Extreme Ranking Challenge, which is another one of Tyler's shows, I assume this is more tamer and calmer, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So there's been a lot of franchises out there that sometimes they just leave us wanting, they leave us hanging. They started out, we loved them, they represented something we really loved, and then they just kind of petered out somehow.
Mhm.
So I know we've all got our 3. My 3 were Final Fantasy, a series that I love. I think Final Fantasy very rarely misses the mark, even though all their games are a little different.
Mhm.
Personally, I started with Final Fantasy X. Then I played 7. Then I played 12, which was cool because at the time I really wanted to play an MMO, but I didn't have a PC. And 12, if you ever played it, kind of scratches that MMO bug.
Mhm.
Never played 11. And then it hit. I'll get into why it petered out. Then Assassin's Creed is my other one. I think most people can at least feel me on Assassin's Creed, but I loved what the game started as. I loved Altair. I think most people do. The gameplay was definitely a little samey. Every mission was basically sit on a bench and listen to somebody, track the guy down, kill them, watch a cutscene, splash back out to being Desmond, lather, rinse, repeat until you pick up an apple.
Mhm.
And then my last one is the Dot Hack series, which is going to get weird. So let me roll back to Final Fantasy because it's easiest for me to explain why. For me, it's really let me down. I hated Final Fantasy 15. I don't make a secret of that. Number one, let me get it right off the bat. How much product placement is in that game is fucking stupid.
See, I didn't get far enough into it to see any product placement. I did the tutorial
in that game.
I
actual branded cup noodle is ridiculous. And I have to say, I had to stop myself and say stupid because I wanted to say another word that is generally looked down on these days. But starts with an R. But we move. I hated it. I didn't like the world exploration. I get it. It was Pretty Boys road trip game simulator, but
which is
I
fine.
thought most of the characters were really bland.
You know what? I'm actually very okay. I think we've had so many hot half-naked women. I'm fine with Final Fantasy trying to get like the female crowd and also just like kind of break that for a little bit and just have
a lot of
some BTS
things in your life. You have to work through them. You have to let them out.
It's not even that. I feel like Final Fantasy has failed us a lot. Minus 14 now, present Final Fantasy 14. But seriously,
it was the bomb when it started.
For me, I'm sorry, Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy hasn't been good for me since 12, and so like that's what I'm saying is like there's been a lot of stuff. I feel like having some pretty boys, BTS, since like BTS is really big right now, kind of open it up and
Don't
allow more
don't
gamers
compare
into it.
that.
That's true.
Don't
all right.
That's
compare
true.
that.
I'll allow
Don't compare
it.
that. You
I'm
will
just-
piss
will-
off the BTS crew. You will piss off all the army that loves BTS, which is their fan name. Don't
I'm not trying to piss
compare.
them off. Wait, I'm not.
I know, I'm just
I
saying.
wasn't comparing anybody. I'm
Just
saying
trust me.
they are pretty
Okay.
like the
Be
BTS
careful what you
guys.
say.
Okay, I'm saying that.
I'll allow it.
I'm just saying they're all pretty. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, Pretty Boy Car Adventure, I'll allow. I didn't like Noctis. To me, like, look, as a Naruto fan, I'm like, I don't need Sasuke and two things I love, okay? But it's fine. Well, I didn't like Noctis. I thought Gladiolus was just big meathead. I was okay with Ignis. You know, I like when like Nerdy Boy does badass things. It makes me feel good about myself. Just not big on the characters, but I didn't like the gameplay.
Yeah.
Something about
That's where it broke me.
and Final Fantasy 12 had a similar gameplay where it's like you kind of bounce around, control the characters, let them do their thing, but also micromanage.
Mhm.
But just something hit wrong with 15. The way it played,
It's the magic system. The magic system was the
the
dumbest
magic
shit.
system in that game. There was no magic
was
system.
crap.
It was an alchemy system, and it was bad.
It was
It was
so bad.
And my girlfriend insists it's really good if you know what you're doing, but it is the learning curve on the magic. And some people are going to say it's super easy. Shut up. No, it's not. It took me so long to realize the like, oh, if you mix this with this and a little bit of this and then do that, I'm like, I shouldn't have to go to Google to figure out how to play my video game. The pacing of the game was really bad. Now I'll take it on myself. It could be me. I felt the pacing down the game was really bad. By me progressing through the system at what I thought was a decent click, I was very quickly getting out leveled by shit. And I felt like I was doing side quests, doing a couple side quests here, a couple there. They go on with the story. But I felt like it's like, oh, whenever you get to a new area, you got to do everything before you move on. Otherwise, shit's going to outpace you and you're going to get your ass handed to you. I saw where the game could have done a lot better, but there are little things I like. I liked the food system. I really like that. I like, okay, do you want to camp and get buffs by eating the food? Or do you want to, keep banking experience? Or do you want to cash in on your experience and go to a hotel? Also, do you want to spend a lot of money and get a multiplier on your experience? Or do you just want to get your base experience and camp out at a trailer? I thought that was really like intuitive, or not intuitive. I thought that was really innovative. I liked the options. I thought that was a good way to do it.
Yeah.
I felt like the magic system could have been better if you were actually using magic and not basically using potions all the time. Also, the fact that you can hurt your allies with AoE was dumb. I thought the level up system, like the talent system, whatever you want to call it, was very unintuitive as well. Maybe it's just me. Final Fantasy 12, I thought at least was open with the fact of, oh, you choose what you want your characters to be. And it's like, oh, okay. Yes, these guys have stats that lean to certain ways, but you can also build your characters the way you want them to be.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. It felt like 15 was trying to do that, but just didn't know how. So it's like, here's your options. Do what you're gonna do. And maybe I'm just the dumb, but there's so many systems in that game I just did not understand. And to me, it's just fallen flat so hard. I understand that 14's like where the best Final Fantasy is right now. Especially with Realm Reborn, especially with some of the expansions that have been coming out.
He just announced a new expansion in fall.
So I've heard like all the best writing is going on in 14 right now, which is great. I'm glad 14's doing well, but I mean, we haven't even talked about the abomination that was 13. I'm gonna leave that as it is. But for me, 15, between 13 and 15, felt like such a stumbling block.
Wait,
16
are you saying are you saying you don't like just going straight all the time in a Final Fantasy game? That's not what you wanted, was just to go straight only, and that's it? Just straight?
Boo, Tyler, boo. Just boo.
Your joke was bad, and you should feel bad.
Boo. No, I understood the joke, and I appreciate it, but at the same time, boo. Just boo.
Look,
I hated 13. I hated 13. It tried so hard.
Same argument as 15, right? Like it had a lot of things that I felt it was trying to do differently. And it's good to take risks, but unfortunately, trying to do things differently doesn't always land. The summoning system was interesting. Um, I did kind of dig that everyone had a summon that was tied to them, like story wise or thematically or something like that. I kind of dug the vehicles. You know, Shiva being a pair of sisters that scissored into a motorcycle was a little weird, but still not bad. Um, I thought that was cool, but I just thought most of the characters were so flat in 13. They were really boring. The story was predictable. Like you said, it was very much like the whole game was like a hallway,
Yeah.
which is funny because so was 10. If you think about it, 10 was also
I hate
basically one
10.
big hallway.
You
But
know I
liked it.
hate 10. So
I love 10.
Really? I actually
10
love
like
10. Yeah.
I
no.
love 7. I'm a big 7 fanboy. I will always put 10 above 7, even including that fucking laugh scene. I get it. Biggest mistake in gaming
No, the laugh
history.
scene actually.
But
That's the thing is, I hate that game, but I will defend the laugh scene. Like that's the what is wrong with what is happening? Like
it's silly.
he's never laughed before. He doesn't know what to do. It made sense.
I guess technically, yeah, he's a fake human being. Spoilers for a game that came out like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
But
Right.
God, that game came out 20 years ago. Fuck.
Yeah. I'm old, man.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Okay, so I've said my piece on Final Fantasy. Next one's Assassin's Creed. Like I said earlier, loved Assassin's Creed 1, loved 2. 2 and Brotherhood and whatever. I forget what the third game was called.
But the third was the
Assassin's
best,
Creed
Revelation?
but not really.
Revelation.
Oh, no,
Ezio,
just call this.
mwah.
Ezio
Best
Trilogy's good.
assassin they've ever made. Because Connor was like, to me, but not bad. I like the setting. But that game started to go south for me in 3. I thought Connor's character was a little odd. I get like being an angry assassin boy was like most of his storyline, and I get it. To me, it was just they leaned a little hard into it. Black Flag was good. Combat,
Yeah.
most of the game itself was but that ship, like the ship to ship
Yeah.
stuff was
I
mwah.
like it was anything on land for Black Flag was you're saying you're going to stalk a person. That's basically all the land missions. But the sea missions were some of the best that they made. They're making their own game just based off the sea mechanics from Black Flags.
Yeah.
I love Black Flag. That's my favorite that's one of my favorites in the series.
Then we start getting into like the other games. We start getting into like Unity.
Yeah, Unity.
Which
That was
Unity was a dumpster fire, to put it lightly. That game couldn't run itself to save its life. It failed to deliver on what was promised. We were promised a lot more NPCs on screen. That was not delivered.
And we're talking about Unity still, right?
Yes.
Unity.
Yeah. Okay.
There were many graphical glitches. Many
yes,
graphical.
yes.
Everyone remembers like seeing like the faces that were just eyes and a tongue.
Yes, those were my favorite. That actually was the reason I was like, I want to play this game just for the glitches.
Then they patched in a major fix, which fucked up the water effects because it affected the reflectiveness of water. So you would look at it, and all it was a solid sheen of light. It wasn't actually reflected. Like the ray tracing was wrong.
Yeah,
nice.
So it wasn't acting like a mirror. It was just reflecting pure light. And it was just buggy, and it missed what made like the earlier games good. But to me, now I liked Ezio's ability to like fight in the streets, but that's because to me, he wasn't raised from youth to be an assassin. He already had some like sword fighting skills. So for him being kind of a brawler made sense. But then from there, they've kind of more and more used an excuse to not make them assassins so much as like brawlers with a hidden blade.
Yeah.
Connor was Native American. He had a lot of Native American hunting skills. He had his bow, fine.
Yeah.
He had the tomahawks, okay. But he also very much, because of his backstory, is also very much full of rage. So not super assassiny. I still thought he, very much utilizing, the hunter background, the skills he would learn in the wilds, to play into being an assassin was cool. Then we got into Sean, who was
he wasn't even like an assassin. He was a pirate who killed an assassin and just took his clothes and weapons.
Yeah. To me, it's kind of missing the thing that made me love the games originally, which was being an assassin, was finding out the information on my target, finding where they are, going to kill them. You could argue that the games would get too samey after a while. I would raise up Hitman as an example of you're wrong. those games really don't change in terms of how they play.
They've gotten better. They've actually, I would say Hitman is one of the franchises that actually has gotten way better.
But the idea is still you enter into an area. It can still be an expansive area. You find your targets and you find creative ways to kill them. And I'm like, give me ancient Hitman. That's basically what I want out of Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
And it hasn't been that in such a long time. They're just brawlers now. That's my big issue with this Assassin's Creed. I feel like the games have forgotten what they were. Now we're in Valhalla. We're Vikings. Dude, I'm all about Viking brawler. That's fine. Not my Assassin's Creed. So when I see more of it, maybe it'll feel, maybe they'll do something. But for now, I'm just like, hey, can I be a ninja? If we go to Japan and I can be a ninja, that would be cool. God, that would be so cool. Anyway, my last one's the Dot Hack series. I'm a big Dot Hack fanboy. I love the anime. I really do like the games. I played the original 4 games. Infection, Outbreak, Mutation, and Quarantine. I think I got that order right. Loved them on the PlayStation 2. Again, kind of scratched an MMO vibe before I really knew what MMOs were. Love the story, love the gameplay. Kind of grindy, but at the age that I was playing them, when you only have one game for like 6 or 7 months, it was great. Then we got the GU series, which was the first time I ever got into a game series when all the games hadn't been released, so I actually had to wait for games to come out. The GU series is awesome. It's got its own anime tie-in, that actually you watch the anime and then it overlaps with the start of the first GU game. GU 1, 2, and 3 were great games. And then they came out with another game. They have a bonus episode at the end of it. And this bonus episode was probably the biggest misstep they've ever done, because they felt like they had loose ends to tie up. I strongly disagree. The game ended fine. What they did with this was say, hey, characters that you thought were gone, we'll bring them back. Did you think you were too strong at the end of the game with your 3 different in-game weapons plus your hacked weapons because your character gets saved by hackers? So we're going to give him 2 magic pistols that no one else has in the game. By the way, they break enemies' guards super fast. So blow past their guard, whip out your broadsword, and crush them into pulp. Best combo in the game. Sure, just have that. You are a fucking powerhouse at the end of that game. And then this game, number one, the thing that felt weird with this game was it's all the characters basically coming back for the last day that the game is going to be live. If you don't know, the Dot Hack games take place controlling a player who's playing a game. Very meta. But you come on for this last day and you find out, oh, there's still some remnants of the bad guy that you were dealing with in the other games. You're like, okay, cool. Thought we handled that. Been a while since this game has supposedly been out, but I guess we're going to go deal with that. Also, guess what? Upgrade. Now you get a weapon where you can have special attacks for all of your attacks based on all the weird, we'll call them summons. We don't have time for me to explain it, but all the summons of the game.
Yeah.
It basically is like, imagine Kingdom Hearts, but you start with the Ultimate Keyblade and all the strongest versions of the spells. And it's not like they're throwing you at endgame stuff. They're like, go deal with a couple ways of shadows. Have fun, kid. That was basically what the bonus episode was. Plus, it's been years since those games came out. So the voice actors, like, either they've got different voice actors or the voice actors forgot how the characters sounded. So some of them were pretty good. Like the main character is voiced by Yuri Lowenthal, who, I mean, let's be honest, Yuri Lowenthal really doesn't change his voice for most of his characters. So Yuri Lowenthal just sounds like Yuri Lowenthal. But other characters are like, were you trying? Did you go back and listen to what you did?
Yeah, you should listen to Riku. You should listen to Riku in Kingdom Hearts 3 about not trying and sounding like fucking shit.
David Gallagher phoned that one in, and we all know
he
it.
was so terrible. Sora. Oh yeah, training. Woo.
That game just it took the joy of the original game and was like, hey, we're just gonna make a quick power fantasy for you. 4 hours at most. Maybe we'll throw some other characters in there. And then go have fun. It's the last day the game's active, so just go have fun. It was so unnecessary. It was just a way for them to make this remake like worth something, I guess, to the people who already had the other 3 games, because it really didn't do much else. In fact, I'd say it was worse because the other 3 games, because you had to wait for them to come out sequentially, you were able to do a lot of the bonus side missions, make your characters really strong to export them to the next game. You don't get that in this game, so you don't have the time to do all the bonus side quests. A lot of the really enjoyable stuff is in there. I never did it because I'm like, well, fuck, I've got to get on with the main story. It just it
Yeah.
it was so disappointing. They took away everything you had to work for. That's my rant. Final
Yep.
Fantasy, Assassin's Creed, Hack, you wound me.
I feel that.
Alrighty. Who's going
I
next,
feel that.
John?
Kibbles, let's go with you, brother. What do you got?
All right. I'll start with number 3, because this is kind of weakest out of all my picks. It is the Saints Row series.
Hmm.
I started,
You
but
wounded
it's
Matt.
funny because I didn't. A lot of my what's on my list is I've grown up with. These are nostalgic games. This is the only series that isn't a nostalgia game. I didn't play like the third one until like maybe 2 years ago, and it was
Really?
because because I think it was like one of those series that got underneath that like slipped underneath. I only got because I went to a video game store one day, and they were selling the Switch version of Saints Row 3, and I was looking for a new game. Like, oh, I've heard of the series. Let's see. So I started with 3. I actually really loved it. I liked the humor. It was different.
You started with 3?
Yeah, see, I played 1. I only played 1.
Oh,
I've
wow.
gone back. And
Okay, all right. But did you also do the downloaded content as well too with Get Out of Hell? Or is that
I
4
cannot
I'm
find a
thinking of?
copy of that because I have the legendary.
I think you might be thinking of 4.
What's
because
it?
I may be thinking of 4.
4 is the one
That's
with
4.
when you're
That's
the
4.
president.
Yeah. 4 is the president. Yeah, you're right. I forgot now.
4.
Just yeah,
And
you're right.
It's weird because I'm trying to find that version of it and I can't find a Get Out of Hell
PlayStation.
thing.
Just
I can't find
PlayStation.
it. No, I have the PlayStation version. I couldn't even find it.
Wow.
That's surprising.
Yeah, I can't find it. I've even got like the Game of the Year edition for 4, and I can't find it. It's not even in there. It's like, oh, we decided to like take it out and make it his own separate game.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Where did it fail you?
It's around for me. I think it would be right after 4 because I think after 4 it was like a perfect way to end the series. Like, spoiler for anyone who hasn't played.
Wait, it had a cliffhanger.
You end up controlling. You kill like the superior alien race and become the emperor of the galaxy.
Literally.
It's literally how it ends. I'm like,
it's amazing.
This is perfect.
So bad.
You really can't go anywhere above it. And then I like the Christmas DLC. That was just a little fun thing. But then they released the DLC Get Out of Hell, which essentially kind of reboots the entire series. Because they realized after you beat the galaxy, like, you're in control of the galaxy, there's nothing else to progress after that.
Yeah, they jumped the shark about a mile back.
Dude, they really did. Oh god.
Yeah, like they realized,
which is
like,
fine.
They're like, we got nothing to go after this. So like, they're like, I know. And there's like apparently there's multiple endings to Get Out of Hell, but one option is you're given the option to restart the entire universe. And that's what they did, essentially. I think that's like officially what they're going as the canon ending of that expansion is we're going to reset the entire world. So they ended up resetting it, and then that as a way to further expand the series, hoping to get more money.
So basically, they realized they couldn't do anymore. They went with Get Out of Hell, where Gat is literally escaping hell in the game. And they're like, how do we've written ourselves so far into the corner, like we're surrounded by paint. What do we do? Like, hard reset. We're going to write the hard reset into the game.
It's a hard reset into Agents of Mayhem. And I think that one was like a mediocre because I think one thing they got rid of was the create your own character mechanic, which I thought was like the funnest part of the Saint Row thing. It's like you make your own character, and I think just the interaction with your character and the NPCs and everything and like your crew is so genuine. I like no matter like I really love that aspect of Saints Row. It's like so genuine, but they got rid of it so you can play as multiple of like the main other characters. Like if you want to play Gat or Shantae and all that. Uh, but really, for me, it was just that hard reset because it felt like, for me personally, it's like you hard reset the world because you wrote yourself into a corner, and then it kind of like everything you've done for the last 4 games, from the first Saints Row to Saints Row 4, is like it was all for nothing because you just reset the entire goddamn universe.
Yep. Means nothing.
Yeah, it
For the
means
days of
nothing.
future past. That's what they did,
Yeah.
Yeah.
basically. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, that's my main reason. I don't know if you guys have your own thoughts into why that
Force
series content.
sucked. Like I played all of Saints Row. I actually love the series. I really
Yeah.
do. It was a better Grand Theft Auto to me, honestly. That's what made it
Yeah.
amazing. But
Yeah, that was.
number 4 is where they just took it to a whole new level. They got outlandish. They had extra, which is dope because like Professor Genki is still one of my favorite characters. I love
Oh yeah,
him.
Professor Genki.
But one of the mechanics that they did in Saints Row 4 was the fly ability, where you can literally fly around and all that stuff.
Yeah.
What was the point of having the fly ability and you able to drive and use like the driving mission? There was no point whatsoever to where
They
you had to
probably
drive
figured
around
if
and
you have a
deliver
Saints Row game,
stuff.
got it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they did. Yeah, I guess at the same time they did take that from 3 and moved it over, but at the same time, at one point you became so overpowered, there was no point in actually playing the game. You just went around and just did stupid things and just had fun
Yeah.
with it, which was
That's the-
dope. But like, storyline just went off the rails. It made no sense. It wasn't about now gang territory and taking over cities and all that stuff. It now just went to, can I take over the universe? Sure, why not? It just went from there. It was rough. It was rough.
Yeah, it was a weird. Yeah, that was the one thing I had a complaint with is I felt bad for whoever spent the time making the cards in the game.
Yeah, that was
Because
a
you only
utter
lose it
waste.
for like the first like 2 hours of the game.
And that's it.
And as soon as you get the ability to super run, fuck their cards for the rest of the game.
Yep.
They did that. And they also like they kill off like half they kill off some very, I think, at least for me, like some characters I really enjoyed after like maybe the first 4 hours or something in the game.
Yeah. The soundtrack
Yeah.
for 3 was so damn good too. It was like the
Soundtrack for
music
3.
actually matched parts of the game. Like there's a point in Saints Row 3 where you have to skydive into like a mansion and take out the whole
Oh,
mansion and
I
everything.
fucking love
And
that.
they played a song by Kanye West. You like, one man can't all have all that power. And it just went perfect with the mood. Yes, Kanye West is crazy, but that song matched that mission perfectly.
So is the game.
And it was
That was
it was beautiful. And
Yeah.
then they just gave it all up in 4. Like there's not really a good music, has random dubstep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess, but nothing actually was solid as number 3. Number 3 was the best one in my opinion. And
Oh,
then
wow.
with 4, the aliens, I get it, but the thing that threw me off was the whole "Get Out of Hell," which was the download of content. You're the boss, the leader, and everything. You get kidnapped by Satan, and then Johnny Gats and Mackenzie, I
And
think, have to go down and
yeah.
save you from it. And you're playing as that, and it's like, okay, look, Johnny was a dope character. He was awesome, but he died off for a reason. Let it go. You didn't have to keep bringing him back. And because they kept bringing him back, it was like, okay, you're the main
he's not
boss.
special.
Yeah, he's like, what's the point of this? You're supposed to be the main character. Now this is all focused on Johnny Gat, which is like,
Yeah.
why? Why did you do
Yeah.
this? And once again, with the reset that you said, they just resetted everything. Now, yes, they did do the reset because back in 2019, they did announce that they're working on a 5. They are working on a 5 one, but it's still in production. But for them to do that, they actually had to do the whole reset to actually start fresh and new. Whether they go back to their roots or whether they decide to, go into like
Doing the wacky
multi-dimension.
craziness. Yeah.
I hope it's not multi-dimension. I really hope it's not. And I
Yeah,
hope I'm
see,
just
that's
guessing this, but at the same time, it is a possibility because of all that's going on right now.
Yeah. I mean, 4
Yeah.
issued in so many fans. So, yeah. What's your number 2, Jeff?
number 2. I'm going to have to say it's going to be the Sly Cooper series. Now,
Wow.
it's because I love the original trilogy. I think the original trilogy has a special place in my heart. They ended it perfectly with 3. I'm like, this is the perfect ending.
Yep.
And then they made number 4.
No,
and
they
I
didn't.
was
Shut up.
kind of a they made Thieves Through Time. I'm all like, this is cool. Like, this, no, it's not cool, but it's like, this is interesting, but they didn't do it right. in a
I'm
way.
curious
Like,
if you
I
have the
didn't
same
want-
problem with it that I do. I want to hear yours first.
I mean, for me, it's like there were some aspects of it, like it felt like a Sly Cooper game. Like you're able to control everything like a Sly Cooper game. But as I'm playing, like it doesn't have the same atmosphere as the original 3 trilogy in a way. I also felt like maybe like some of the missions were kind of redundant. I'm like, because in the original trilogy, I felt like every mission had something that contributed to the overall goal of that level for the heist. Especially in like 2 and 3, like everything you did had something that would contribute to the heist.
Yeah.
Where in 4, I feel like there was like some missions that were like, why am I doing this? Like, what's the point of this?
Yeah, like it had something to do with the overall goal of the game. Like you said,
Yeah.
in the old games, it was collecting parts to do a mission, and then doing the mission or the heist at the end of the game, or at the end of that mission. And it lost that. I agree with your problem too of the atmosphere being weird. And I think it's because each game, since it takes place in a different like time era,
Yeah.
it was tough for them to really like settle on a like a tone. I think the Frozen era, like the prehistoric one, when you get like the caveman raccoon, was I felt it was the weakest in the game. That's just me.
Oh, I fucking hate that fucking montage in that one.
The villain in that era was stupid too, but I
Oh,
felt
it was stupid.
Yeah.
A lot of them were like,
I never
a lot
played
of them
those
were
games.
kind of stupid.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
You
dude,
should.
those were my childhood.
Yeah.
A lot of villains I felt were stupid. Like the bear in that prehistoric one was kind of stupid.
Bear was dumb. Bear was very dumb.
Yeah. I felt the main overall antagonist of it. I actually don't like him. I felt he was kind of a stupid character as well. But yeah, it's like there's some missions in there that didn't really feel like there's an episode where
it just kind of ruins the franchise for you.
Yeah, there's like something in I forgot the medieval section of the game where
that's where my problem lives.
Yeah, you play Carmelita and or you play as Lancelot, going to expect like this cave where they say a dragon lives, and you fight a mechanical dragon. I'm like, okay, that was cool, but it really didn't lead anywhere to it.
No, my dude, you're missing the big problem that exists in that game. The fact that Penelope's a villain.
Oh, I was gonna say that part eventually. That part, yeah, that was the total thing, because like in the third one, it's like she was like a quote unquote bad guy of a level, but
what?
She was pretending to be the Red Baron.
Yeah, she was pretending to be the Red Baron. So she was in that level. She was the quote unquote bad guy, even though she technically wasn't. Yeah, so she could. But like they ended on like good terms. Like they were like all happy, and then suddenly in the fourth one, suddenly she's like, I have a grudge against Sky. I'm like, or Sly. I'm like, where did this come
the whole
from?
thing is
Like, what the fuck happened in this time?
In 3, she had a crush on Sly, but then she like falls in love with Bentley because they're both a couple of nerds, and it's nerd love, and it's adorable, and I loved it. And then they end with her joining the team, and everything's great. And then in 4, they're like, oh, Penelope's missing. We don't know where she's gone. And then they're like, oh, we go to the medieval era, and there's this villain called the Black Knight. And surprise, she's actually the Black Knight. Why is she a villain? Because she wanted to make money off of all of their schemes, and they could have made billions by selling all their things. You're like, where the fuck did this come from?
There's also that, and then also at the very end, Sly left them with fucking generation upon generation of fortunes at the end of 3. Where it's like, here's the entire Cooper vault. I'm like, what happened to all that money?
I'm gonna pretend I have amnesia to go live my life with Carmelita.
Yeah, I'm like,
this sounds rough. Oh my god.
This just sounds
I was actually going to play the Sly Cooper series at one point. I've only played, I think, the first one. But no, it's fine. No, it's okay.
Play the first 3. Don't play 4.
Yeah, I know the first 3 were really good, but now I'm just like,
No.
I'm good.
Yeah.
You're you are forgetting the sweetest cherry on top of the entire game. Steve Bloom doing the most racist Japanese voice for the samurai, no, the ninja character in the first
Oh
level.
yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
Oh yeah.
Bentley-san. You're like, dude,
Bentley
Steve
son.
Bloom, I know you're better than this. I realize this was
He gets a
probably
pass.
slightly early in your career, but
Yeah.
fuck, man, you are
He gets
better than this.
he gets a
Yeah.
pass. Nah, early career stuff, he gets a pass. You know that.
Yeah.
Nah,
Oh, that
it's
man's voice
okay.
is made out of buttered silk. I get
Yeah.
it. But the
Yeah.
fact that his whole thing was Bentley-san, you need to help me do this. And I'm like, whoa, Mr. Bloom, slow your roll. And
Think about when that
whoa,
was made. Think about when that game came out. He gets a pass.
what, 10 years
He
ago? No, probably
he
older
gets
than
a
that.
pass. He gets a pass in that
Let's
case
keep going.
because it's forever.
Okay, sorry.
I'm about to say,
I know
my
we're
also,
already
my
done
also
wrong. We're only
complaint,
halfway done.
yeah, I'm gonna say my also other complaint is that at least at the end of like every level in the previous 3, like you going from one location to another kind of makes sense in a way, where it's like, oh, like, hey, we're looking for, like in 3 especially, when like you finish one mission, like, oh, we need to find a demolition expert to get into this giant fortress. I'm like, but like the only person they know was an old enemy from a previous game, and they're like, so they like do research. It's like actually connected flowing, whereas they think in 4 is like every time you go back in time, you happen to just get an artifact that someone happened to have in the fucking level. Like the bad guys just happen to have this artifact that happens to take you when you put in the time machine, happens to take you to the right place at the right time in the era where it affects the game's plot. And I'm
It's like
like,
a computer game from the 90s. Like, we found a MacGuffin. That's going to take us here. We found another MacGuffin. Now that
Yeah.
sends us here.
yeah, I'm about to say. But overall, I felt it was a very unnecessary game. I didn't like it. They should have just stuck with the 3 instead of trying to make a reboot or anything like that.
Absolutely. All right,
Yeah.
what's your
What's
first
number
game?
3?
And then my first game is going to be the Tony Hawk series for me. Because for
Really?
me, yeah, I've grown up with Tony Hawk 1 when it first came out. And then I played that real young. I think I was like 5. I think I was like 5 years old when the first one came out. And then I really started growing up in the era that I called the story mode era of it, which is mainly Underground, Underground 2, and American Wasteland.
Hmm.
And some of those are what I played those a lot. Like I played Underground 2 and American Wasteland a lot. So those were some of my favorite Tony Hawk games. I felt it went downhill with Project 8. Because I felt like in Project 8, what really happened was I feel like a lot of the story mode was just very bland. It's like before, like the American Wasteland that came before it was you're a kid that came to LA who ends up falling for this girl, and then you want to get in with her crowd, and then it leads you in this entire adventure of you trying to save this skate park for them and making the best skate park in the world. I like that story. Whereas as Project 8, it's like you're just some kid in suburbia, and they're like, "Hey, Tony Hawk's making a crew. Come along and like, I'm only picking the top 8 skaters in this entire area. Like, just do some goals from random people around the town, and you'll do it." And that was it. I
So
will
it's
say
Tony
like
Hawk Pro Skater 2, but with story.
Mm-hmm.
it's somewhat of a story, but not a good
Ish.
story.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, and then I felt like it gives you the option to customize my character, but even then, it's not even like it wasn't like as diverse as Underground or American Wasteland. It's like you basically get 3 stereotypes, like white suburban kid, black kid, and then punk kid,
That's
and
it.
that was it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, you know,
Yeah.
the 3 kind of skaters, white, black, and punk.
That's it.
Yeah,
That's
that was it.
important.
And they give you like 10 items, like 10 different pairs of shoes, 10 shirts, 10 pants. It was like so minimal. I'm like, oh, like I can't really create what I want, and the models are just so ugly. I swear. I don't know what happened between American Wasteland and Project 8, but their graphic quality, I believe, has gone down because like everything looks super blurry. Now I played this back like a few weeks ago. I'm like, everything looks super blurry. I don't know what is going on with it. I'm like, this looks like garbage. Like it did not age well at all.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, like this is weird.
And
And
then they
I
tried to
can
fix it with 5, and
yeah. And then I kind of respected it for trying to get back to the original kind of Tony Hawk game, like classic Pro Skater 1, Pro Skater 2 type of things. I just think they did badly because there's also like certain challenges in there where it's like, oh, let's do the longest grind. And it'll be like you start grinding here, and then like on the way it's like different marks where it's like your amateur mark. Like if you reach here, there's like the amateur level, then like a pro level, and then a sick level. In the very first level, you start in a suburbia, and you have to grind the curb around the cul-de-sac. I wasn't the only one that found this, but apparently, like I don't know what they did in that game, but they made it so impossible to do that particular mission. And I'm not the only one that has the issue. Apparently, a lot of people have the same issue with that game. I've always considered the series went to shit right after American Wasteland. Like American Wasteland was like the last decent Tony Hawk game that was considered good, and then it started going downhill after that.
yeah,
Absolutely.
who knew to make it good again? You had to remake 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
you had to remake 1 and 2.
Matt, your turn. Lay it on us. What do you
You
got?
sure? Like, I mean, Tyler can go. I don't mind. It's not a problem with me.
I'm gonna go last because I think everybody knows what the ones I'm gonna talk about because I've talked about them.
Oh
a
yeah, I'm
lot.
pretty sure. So I won't take as long as y'all because y'all.
Thank
man,
you.
Sorry
y'all feel-
about that.
Y'all feel passion. That's fine. Y'all feel the passion about it. My passion is for my games are serious as well too. My 3 games are Jet Set Radio, the series itself, Sonic the Hedgehog, and Street Fighter.
Yeah.
There's no particular order in particular in this case. One of the things I had was Jet Set. It's a wonderful game. If you don't know what Jet Set Radio is, it's a solid game about you being a Rudy or a young graffiti artist, basically going around being a rebel against the police and against the city and so on and so forth. You go around graffiti and stuff, collecting some stuff, fighting the police, so on and so forth. It's a wonderful game. It's really good. Jet Set Radio was the first one. It was great. It was dope. The soundtrack was amazing, beautiful. Jet Set Radio Future was the second one. They gave us a full open world concept. They gave us a better soundtrack composed by the same person as well too, which was even better as well. And some other additional people too, like the Latchy Brothers. Fun fact: the Latchy Brothers is a duo between Marky Mark and somebody else as well too. So Marky Mark had a hand into Jet Set Radio's soundtrack as well too. Solid game, really interesting storyline. Let me rephrase that. I ain't gonna lie. The storyline is, you take it as you have it, but it's not bad, especially because it introduces new characters, new crews, and so on and so forth. So because of the success of how it was for the Xbox, because it came out for that first Xbox. First it was on Dreamcast, and it came out for Xbox. Actually, if you bought an Xbox back when it first came out, it came with it. It came with that and like a racing game as well too. So people loved it. People enjoyed it. It was dope as hell. Nothing after for several years. Anything. People were hoping for number 3. People were hoping for an expansion. People were just hoping for anything to like satisfy the people who were really into this game, to the point where people were begging Sega. It wasn't even the franchise itself that was disappointing. Like the game itself was amazing. It was Sega themselves messing up and not giving the people what they want. They wanted more of the game. And you got little teasers periodically. Like for example, one of the characters is called Beat. He's one of the main characters, has headphones, has the big goggly eyes that look like he's a bug, all that stuff. He's been featured in other Sega games, such as like the All-Star Tennis or the All-Star Racing. And you see him in a 3D model, and they added him to the game. So you think, okay, maybe they'll go with it and give us something in the future. They're just taking their gentle time. Perfectly fine, understandable. 5 years passed, then 10 years passed, and still nothing. It got bad to the point where the people who originally worked on the game left Sega to start their own division called Team Lizard or Team Liquid? I forgot. I think it was Team Lizard. Team Lizard, they basically took the concept of Jet Set Radio. Okay, hold up. Do you know, have you seen Futurama?
Yes.
Yeah.
So you know that thing what Bender does where he's like, I don't need you. I can go do my own thing with blackjacks and hookers. Forget the blackjack. No, that's what Team Liquid basically did. They were like, we don't need you to make Jet Set Radio. We're going to do it ourselves. So they basically formed a team and started production for their own version of Jet Set that isn't actually technically Jet Set. Legal League Blade, there we go. It's actually a solid game, and you can get the same, actually the person who did the music for Jet Set worked on that game as well too. And it's actually an interesting game as well too, but you can see the art style is very similar to Jet Set as well. Team Lizard actually as well too just announced
It's Team Reptile, by the way. Team Reptile.
Is it Team Reptile or they're both
Lizard's a reptile.
Am I right? Am I right? Am I wrong? It's a reptile.
You're right.
Team Reptile. Yeah. Team Reptile also are working on a new game called Bomb City Cyber Rush, I think, which is technically Jet Set Radio. Like if you look at the trailer, which once again the composer works with it as well too, and it's amazing. If you look at the trailer, it is like they just put a filter over Jet Set Radio and was like, this is knockoff Jet Set Radio, but we can't legally say it's Jet Set Radio. But here you go. And people are really excited about that. They really are excited. And they want that because Sega and the original team hasn't given us nothing since. So, yes, it's disappointing. At the same time, Sega's just been overall messing up for a good minute now, you know? Which rolls on to
the Sunrises.
Sunrises, Sky Blue, Water Wet, nothing different. Sega's been disappointing since day one sometimes, which is sad because that goes into my other game, which is Sonic the Hedgehog. And I love the Sonic the Hedgehog. Now, don't get me wrong. I acknowledge that Sonic the Hedgehog is a wonderful game. It is dope as hell. People love it. The lore is amazing, so on and so forth. I also, and I love that game with a passion too. I really do. I also acknowledge how bad Sega and Sonic is for a long time now.
Werewolf Sonic.
Okay. Yeah. Werewolf. That wasn't even what the main disappointing one was. That wasn't it. Actually, it went back. Nope, not even 06. It went back to Sonic Adventure 2.
Oh, Adventure
Sonic
2.
Adventure 2 was one of my disappointments because that was when they tried to add romance stuff into a storyline that was not even needed. They didn't need that as well too. Okay. They gave us Sonic Adventure, which was, look, for what it was at its time, it was solid, it was dope, it was good. Being early 2000s, 98, so on and so forth, new to 3D world stuff, it was awesome. Now that I'm older, a little bit wiser, when I look back on it, man, I was a stupid child, and I thought that was amazing. So I get that, but you know I'm right too. But it was that
I used to think Orphan Sign of Sorcery was great, and I realize I'm wrong. But
yeah, you were in this case.
All right,
look, you said it, not me, man. All right, but it's still the point that I acknowledge that it's been going downhill since like Sonic Adventure 2. The werewolf one was bad as well too, same as Game Mechanic. Sonic Heroes was not the greatest as well too, especially with storyline and all that stuff.
I'll take that on myself. Love that game. Not good. Loved it.
No. Loved it. Yeah. Loved it too. I played that.
Loved it. Not good. I played
it. Sing you the theme right now.
On GameCube.
Bad game.
Sonic Heroes. Like it was good, especially because I think it was Crush 40 still worked on the soundtrack with that as well too. So it was solid, but it just was a bad game. The story wasn't interesting. No one really cared about that. No one cared about Team Dark. Actually, I take that back. What was the other team? It was Team Chaotic. No one cared about Team Chaotic.
Team Chaotic.
No one cared about them at all.
I also kind of felt like it was also kind of a pain in the ass that you had to beat the game. You had to beat them like on all teams. Like 4 times just to get the true ending of the game.
Which wasn't even good because you're like, well, spoilers. Anyone who hasn't played the damn
good
game,
and it was a pain in the ass.
It was because you're like, oh, this wasn't actually Robotnik. It was this person enhanced. And so on and so forth. It was Metal Sonic. And it was ridiculous. Like it made no sense. And the gameplay of it was fine, which is funny. On GameCube, it was perfect. On Xbox and PlayStation, it was horrible. There was glitches. There was constant glitches. So on and so forth. There was actually so much bad glitches to the point where one of the developers contacted other people that were playing the game, and they told them, look, at one point for PlayStation and Xbox, if there was a glitch that didn't break the game, we just left it in because we were in that much of a rush to actually finish the game.
Yeah,
and it was sad
that these days.
It is, and it's really sad too. But still, Sonic Heroes was rough as well too. Sonic the Hedgehog, the 2006 one, was rough as well too.
What are you talking about? That was
the
like I thought that was like ranked the best game of all time.
Sonic.
Fuck
I
off.
swear, if I could
I'm
flip your
joking.
table right now,
I'm
I
joking.
swear
I'm
to
joking.
God.
I'm joking. You know what? I've
Mhm.
actually never played a Sonic game except for Sonic Adventure 1, and I only played like 10 minutes of it.
You're missing out because they
eh.
actually redeemed themselves with Sonic Generations as
Yeah,
well as
Sonic
Sonic
Generation-
Mania.
I heard about
Sonic
that. Yeah.
Sonic Generation, what I heard was like the actually like good one that actually like after like a long
Solid.
string of bad ones, it was like, oh, this one's pretty solid.
Yep.
And
And
then
then they
fucking
give us some
Sonic
more
Boom,
bad ones.
and then they
Then
went back to Sonic Boom.
Sonic Boom again. Then they gave us Sonic Mania. Was happy because it gave us nostalgic feel as well too. The people
Yeah.
who worked on the original game and people who worked on different soundtracks and fan-made games actually worked on Sonic Mania, and they actually put effort into it. That's the thing. They did put effort into it, even the music as well too. Then right after they give us Sonic Forces, and it's like, well, you just back to disappointing us again, Sega.
Yeah.
Really?
I'm about to say, I
Just-
spent
You have to
a
understand
lot
that
of
I
my childhood-
I'm the worst type of gamer. I don't like Mario. I don't like Mega Man, and I just have no interest in Sonic.
All three of those games are my favorite. Literally, you just named all three of my favorite ones.
See, I
Period.
You
spent-
named
I
all
love
the things he
platformers.
loves. Thanks, Tyler.
I
Thanks,
spent a lot
Tyler.
of my childhood like playing. I played Sonic Forces, but I've also played a lot of the Game Boy Advance versions, Sonic
Yeah.
Advance.
Advanced Colors, Rush, Advance 2, Advance 3. Oh, all those were great.
Yeah,
And
the ones that everyone want are the old classic ones of this run as fast as you can from one side to another, and that was it.
Mhm.
When you start
Yeah.
getting the 3D space and make a story, I think that's when most people are like, oh.
but
fuck."
here's the thing with that. If they actually fine-tune the stories and actually incorporated what they did in the comics to the actual gameplay, then that's something that can attract people. Not one Sonic game, not to my knowledge, not one Sonic game actually reflected similar to the Archie comics, Sonic comic books that they had.
Yeah.
None of them. You don't hear nothing about. You only see like Amy and all the stuff, and everybody that's normal, Knuckles and all that stuff. You don't hear nothing about Sally. You don't hear nothing about the bunny girl. You don't hear nothing about the other female hedgehog that was hot as hell for no reason. Like they don't even. You know, you're laughing because you know I'm right too. She was hot for no reason. I don't know why. I think her name was Mina. Her name was Mina. She was hot as hell. Trust me, I don't care. You call me a furry as much as you want. I'm not a furry, but in this case, I'll acknowledge she is hot as hell. All right, but they never went with that storyline at any point. They may have made references, but never actually took that. And they could easily have done something with that, or at least given us a game, anything at all. But no, disappointing as well too. And Sega's just pulling stuff out of their asses and basically like, hey, we give you nostalgic, but here's something new that's also equally as disappointing. And they're just not listening to their fan base at all, which is rough. You know, now in this case, I guess the last two had to do with Sega, so I say Sega is just a disappointment, not the game series. Sega themselves,
Sega in general.
you know, Sega themselves are not giving us what we want, which is really rough. Because that also switches over to another gaming company, Capcom. Capcom has not been giving us 100% what we want as well too. Let me phrase that: they may not be giving us here in the States, maybe over there in Japan, in the Great Nihon, but here. Nope, not at all.
How many
My
times
complaint-
have we made number 4?
Which one, Sonic or Street Fighter? That's the thing. Which one? Because they made Sonic 4, then Sonic 4 Part 2, which was both equally sad. Because they were like, let's take the 2D gaming and put it 3D and make it suck with the physics. And it was a waste of our time. Then they put it on a mobile, which made even no sense because they were like, you know what? We're going to try and get this mobile money as well, too, because people are making money doing Android games. Let's us do it as well, too. And they gave us like a Temple Run version of Sonic as well, too, which was like, why? Why'd you give us this? What was the point of this? But enough about Sega fucking up. We're going to go over to Street Fighter fucking up now. I'm a huge fighting game fan. I love fighting games. I've been a part of it. I'm not good. I'll clarify that. I am not good at fighting games. But I enjoy them. I am amazing at them. If you count amazing as very garbage, then I am definitely amazing at fighting games. But my problem with the Street Fighter series is they gave us a fine-tuned game at one point. Street Fighter 3 Third Strike was, in my opinion, one of the best fighting games ever. It was balanced. It gave us a wonderful soundtrack. It gave us different characters. It gave us diversity as well, too, which is interesting. Because there's not a lot of times where you see a black guy in a fighting game and shit. But It gave us some good stuff. Then come along Street Fighter 4. Okay, so new series, revamped, so on and so forth. The mechanics of the game is what made it complicated. A lot of people translated from Street Fighter 3 to Street Fighter 4. And that transition was rough because there are different mechanics from 3 that didn't apply in 4. That they added new ones in 4 as well too. The input, the response time, the frames, all those were completely different than what we were used to being in a 2D. Reason why is because they did something called 2.5D, which is still a 2D fighting game feel, but it's in a 3D animation. So you see Ryu or Chun-Li as not as
3D
a
model.
8-bit kind of look, it's a 3D model. So their response time is a little different because they actually tried to add some physics into it as well too. That's where it got a little rough. Then, like you said, they made 5 different versions of the damn game. They had Street Fighter 4, Super Street Fighter 4, Super Street Fighter 4 Arcade Edition, Ultra Street Fighter 4, Ultra Street Fighter 4 Arcade Edition as well too. And this is all while making this, while being in production for Street Fighter 5. Each time they made these games as well too, they started doing more of the paywall. So okay, you want these extra characters, you have to pay for the downloaded content. You have to start paying for the costumes as well too. You want these extra stages or these extra soundtracks, you gotta start paying for it as well too. And I guess that was during the time when whole paywall or like loot boxes and all that stuff started getting real popular. They started incorporating that into the game now to where certain fighting games have season passes, just like in Smash or in other stuff, to where for you to get these other characters, you have to either buy them or play really, 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 really long time in the game to get this one character.
Yeah.
And then if you want the rest of the other 5 characters, you got to do the exact same thing over and over. Where it's like, well, why don't I just spend $5 to just get this as well too, instead of just grinding it all out? Which, what's the point of giving these types of things? The fun of grinding is fun. It's great. But there's always a limit to where there's only so much we can do. People have lives, people have things to do. We shouldn't have to grind this damn much to just get what we want.
Yeah.
And if we're just paying for it, then it just looks like you're just money hungry, you know? And because of that, that translates into 5. That translates to mechanics again as well too. The paywall. There is, I believe, 5. Hold up. I think either 4 or 5 seasons in Street Fighter 5, where each one they've released a small bundle of characters as well too. And for you to get those, you also have to buy the downloaded content. This is not including regular base game, because later they make Arcade Edition, then Championship Edition with all the costumes and all the stages and so on and so forth. And it's just been disappointing. And I'm not even getting into the technical online terms of shit, to where it's like, I'm playing someone online and against somebody else as well too, because of COVID, people are at home. No tournaments don't exist really. No one can play games with each other next to each other. So a lot of tournaments have been online. The net code or the connection when it comes to playing with fighting games and all of that has been disappointing. Capcom, at least in this case, Capcom and Sega needs to step up their game and actually do some shit. That's why it's been disappointing, especially because it just now seems like they're just trying to get money, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
It came out around that time, yeah.
And it all just been like a giant rolling effect. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm still gonna be garbage and play the game. Don't get me wrong. I'm going to buy the Championship Edition. I'm going to buy all 5 seasons, and I'm going to definitely play Dan Hibiki when he finally gets released, which is the new announcement that they did. But it's the point that, 1, that's taking my paychecks. 2, that's taking my money. 3, you're changing more things in the mechanics that's going to make it difficult for me to understand, because I'm not a professional player. And 4, which is the most important thing, is you're just now fucking with us. We're coming because they're thinking, hey, we can do this. They're going to pay for it either way. So fuck it, let's do it. And that's exactly what they're doing, when they already fine-tuned it perfectly 4 games ago, you know?
Yeah.
So it is now getting just ridiculous when it comes to Street Fighter.
That sucks.
Still gonna play it, still gonna enjoy it, but it's just sad, and that's why it's been disappointing to me. And this is not even me going into the heavy details, because I'm not going to go heavy details, but you get.
We're already way over than what I wanted this episode to be.
Hey, at least Tyler, at least you can't blame me this time, okay?
That's true.
That's true. It was them.
That was me and Kuma.
Usually it's me. Usually it's me that talks a long time, but this time, nah, it was y'all.
So I'll go with my 3. One of them I'm not going to go into a lot of details on because I'm actually scripting out an actual 45-minute scripted
God,
analysis as to
why?
why I hate the
Oh my
series
god!
and
I
why the
think I know
series.
which one.
Jesus.
Okay, so I'm going to go with my number 3, which I'm not. I eventually do want to talk about this a lot more at length, but the one that really failed me, I feel like, was Blue Dragon. So Blue Dragon was a really, honestly, to me, a fantastic game that had very mixed reviews. Like critics either loved it or they fucking hated it. Right now, the first one standing at a 7.9% on Metacritic, and it's mediocre scores. But people who hated it, hated it because it's a very slow game for the first 2 hours, and then it just gets really fast and a lot of fun. And it's Akira Toriyama and the creator of Final Fantasy together. So it's Akira Toriyama's world building and comedy mixed in with the creator of Final Fantasy story together. And also my favorite soundtrack for a video game, period. And so I love the game. They made a sequel. The game had a really rough ending to where I don't even know where the hell they were going to go to if they got a sequel. And so they did get a kind of sequel called Blue Dragon Plus for the 3DS, and it was terrible. It was a tactical one. Because spoiler alert for this really old ass game, but world turns into separate cubes, and I thought what they were gonna do was try to piece the world together, but then Blue Dragon Plus really didn't explore it, and it was a terrible game. It was really hard to play, and I didn't like it. And then they made Shadow Awakens, which was actually pretty okay. It went back to an RPG, but it was a 3DS game. You went from a gorgeous looking Xbox 360 anime game JRPG to a 3DS game sequel that just didn't work out. The limitations and everything just didn't work out, and it was a huge letdown. And they just gave up on it. And it sucks because I loved it. I think if they promoted it better, if they made like a true sequel game, people would actually like it too. But I think it's a game that nobody will be able to play unless they get a 360 and they still have their game. So that's my number 3. Now my number 2 is the one I'm going to be doing a video on, which is Kingdom Hearts. Let's just say,
Let's get into it, boys.
No, I'm not
getting.
I'm not
He
getting into it.
complains
It's
about
just
every episode he gets.
I know, right? So Kingdom Hearts 3 was the biggest letdown, and it's not because it was a continuation. It's because of the worlds. The worlds sucked. The story was terrible. You had to get the downloadable content to get a real ending, because the ending was a cliffhanger when for at least 8 years Nomura had been saying, hey, this is the definitive ending of Xehanort Saga, and it just, spoiler alert, wasn't. And so it was a letdown. It took them way too long. And the thing is I love the spinoffs. Birth by Sleep is my favorite Kingdom Hearts game. I love Dream Drop Distance.
Aqua's the best character they ever wrote.
Yeah, I like 358 by 2. I hate Chain of Memories, and I don't like Penny very much. But
358 by 2.
That
was the 3D. That was the 3D
Tyler, say its name
about,
correctly. 358 days over 2.
358 days over 2. And so, I like the spinoffs. I really do. In fact, some of the spinoffs I like more than Kingdom Hearts 2. So has nothing to do with that. Just Kingdom Hearts 3 failed me, and that's all I'm going to say, because I'm going to say a lot more later on. And also, I talk about it a lot on my streams as well. So watch our Discord. The number 1 I'll take like 5 minutes on talking about, but my number 1 is, if you haven't really paid attention to me or watched my streams or really listened to a lot of things that I say, it's right. At the Grand Geek Gathering on Twitch. No, it's Paper Mario. Paper Mario is my number 1.
What?
Paper Mario is absolutely fucked over its fans, and I understand that it had brought in some new fans with the new Origami King. And no, I haven't played it. I'm sorry, I haven't played
it. Origami King.
I've watched people play through it, but from the analysis of people, and I know I mention him almost every episode, but Arlo, talks about it at length. He had I think a 15-minute review about it, and it everything he said, it seems like that he lines up with me on my fandom with Paper Mario. That was the first thing I streamed when I got back into streaming during this insanity. It's the Paper Mario series is very important to me. Paper Mario 64 is the one that got me to really love gaming. Before, I had fun gaming with friends, playing GoldenEye, Super Mario and all this stuff. When I finally got an N64, the first game I got was Paper Mario, and I played it and beat it 7 times, over and over and over and over again. I still have my strategy guide. Still, I have like all the merchandise that they made for it, which was not a lot. It was my game. I got a GameCube only for the Thousand Year Door. I like it a lot. I don't love it. I think 64 is still my favorite one. And then with Wii, I got Super Paper Mario. A fantastic story. I hated the gameplay, but the story was unbelievable, which saved it for me. And then Sticker Star, and then Color Splash, and then Origami King. And it's like they've deviated, and they keep saying that they don't care. Like, they don't care. They're not going to go back, and they keep doubling down on it, and it's just shit. And I feel like make another franchise. Just go back and then make the other. You can do Paper Mario spinoff, and even call it just like Paper Mario or Paper Mario Elseworld games or something like that. I don't know, but like I just think it's weird that they just gave up on the franchise and decided to go on just gimmicks and bad gimmicks at that. And then now the latest one is like the biggest tease to go back to form, but them really being like, oh yeah, it's almost just like it. And then it's just them giving you a big middle finger and not really. I love how meta Origami King is. I love the Toads and how meta it is like they used to be, but it's nowhere near with story, and it's nowhere near with the controls and the adventure aspect of it. The advantage of Mario RPG, Paper Mario, and Paper Mario Thousand Year Door was that you're finally exploring Mario's world and understanding what it is. And I'm sorry, from what I experienced when I played Sonic Adventure, which was trying to do the same thing, it felt like it did it way better. And I don't think I've ever seen any other game series where, before it was just like, it's a side scroll, don't worry about the world. Don't worry about the world, because the next game is not going to be anything like it. But Paper Mario was like this one thing where you got to see a Goomba, a Koopa, and a Toad like drinking at a table in a tavern.
I'll walk into a bar.
Walk into a bar. So, and like now they don't have a lot of those people. Like they don't have I think they do have Koopas and Origami King, but in Sticker Star and Color Splash, it was only Toads. Only Toads. That's all you could talk to. That's the only people. Everybody else are just enemies. So, I miss playing as Peach and doing like little things, and then playing as Bowser, like from Thousand Year Door and stuff. Like that was cool, and it's just something different for Mario. And those were the Mario games that I actually cared about, and now I just can't. I just can't. And every time that they say or we get revealed a Paper Mario game, I'm just like, I'm gonna wait, and then I just end up, since Sticker Star, not playing them, and I just watch other people play them, and I just watch hours of people doing video. I watch so many videos about Paper Mario. It's unfair. Like Striker, what's his name? Striker 3X or something like that. Striker X, and then Arlo and other people. Like I watch a ton of Paper Mario stuff. It's still important to me. I still want to replay them on my stream. But yeah, so those are my 3. I'll definitely get into Kingdom Hearts in a different video altogether. But yeah, Blue Dragon, Kingdom Hearts, Paper Mario. That's it. That was 8. That was 8 minutes.
Yep.
Sorry.
You timed it?
Get
You
the
really
fuck over
timed
here.
it. You fucking timed it.
Ding.
Well, because
kidding.
if he wasn't timing it, he would just go on rant for another hour.
Right, especially about Kingdom Hearts. But anyway, but yeah. So those are ours. Tell us what you think about our picks. What were some of the games that failed you? And also, if I'm streaming, follow us on Twitch, and then come talk to me, and we'll have a discussion. We'll talk together in chat live. And so, but yeah. Anyways, Sean, you take it.
Everyone, thank you very much for watching today. I think we can really boil down to it. We hate it when someone either abandons a series or fucks it up. But that was our
Or both.
episode.
Or both, yeah.
Both.
That was our
Both.
episode. Thank you very much for watching today. My name, of course, is Kuma. Don't forget to follow GamerKulture over on YouTube, GamerKulture.com, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. That's GamerKulture, one word, culture with a K. Kibbles, where can they find you, buddy?
You can find me on Instagram at Kibbles Plays and on twitch.tv/Kibbles Plays, where I will be starting playing a game that's been on my list for a long time called Foundation.
Nice.
Awesome, brother. Matt, where can they find you? What do you do?
Just Google me. Literally. Google literally. Look, I paid a lot of money when I say a lot of money, I mean a little bit of money, to Google, to where if you type in Nerdy Bit on Google, I am the first thing that you show up. You will find my website
Nice.
that we have all our clothing and streetwear on as
you
well
are not
too.
wrong.
Thank you. What I say. You will
Right on
find
top.
our Facebook as well too. You will find our Twitch as well too, which I don't really stream. My partner does, and she has her own Twitch, which is Arizilla. You just Google us. Literally, that's it. If you
Yeah,
like our
mhm.
stuff, buy it.
Yeah, no,
If you don't,
no.
it's understandable. Being broke as hell is rough now. I understand. So if you just look at our stuff, though, that's all I really
My dude,
care
that is
about. Look,
a
I'm
Demon
worth.
Slayer hat.
Yes, it is. I worked
Yeah.
my ass off on those Demon Slayer
No.
hats. You have no idea. Those are fun fact. Those are actually screen printed underneath the brim of the hat.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people do that, and we basically make all our stuff handmade. Like I'm wearing one of our shirts right now, which is the Magical Boy.
Yeah. and
It is a
Tyler
little
has-
ironic that the nipples are where the stars are, but just ignore that. Yeah, I
Not
made
sure how I
Tyler's
feel
hats
about
as
the
well
Buddha
too.
hat, but okay.
Yeah,
I
no,
feel
no.
you.
Hey,
Check
yo.
out their hats. Their hats are some of the best designs. I've been
Mhm.
meaning to buy them for a while because they look amazing.
Absolutely.
Which is funny because actually I had a new hat that I'm working on, but I'm not going to debut it until cons are back active again or when
Oh,
the
that's
taxation
cool.
is. I've been addicted to Initial D lately, so I made an 8-6 hat,
Nice.
and I even have
Ooh.
the side of the Fujiwara or tofu
Oh,
symbol that's on the car on the side of the hat as well too. So
See, it looks
Hey.
it looks so nice.
it's
I
clean
need
as
to go-
hell. But
I need to buy. I need to go to the store and buy it.
man, you got my email. You talk to me. I'll make you a custom hat. It's fine. Also, do custom
fuck
orders
yeah.
too. We do custom orders as well as decals and all that stuff. So if you are interested in it, just please contact us. Hit us up on Instagram or email, Facebook, website. It don't matter. Literally, Google it. Google me.
Yep.
You'll find me. It's not a problem. So
Nerdy Bit. They got good
Yeah.
shit. Thank you guys for being here. Tyler, take us out, brother.
Thank you for listening in and watching. You can check out all of our shows and offerings on thegrandgeekgathering.com, where we have articles, videos, and so much more, and all of our 11 podcasts. And I also stream on Twitch. Please follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook as well for all of our updates. Thank you so much again. Please subscribe and like this video. Have a wonderful week. Wear a mask. And GGG.
GGG.
GG.
Stay cultured.
And
Seriously.
stay
Hey,
cultured.
culture.